Okay, hello everyone. Here we are on Monday instead of Friday. So we missed Friday because um Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were super busy days, and I enjoyed every single day. I don't think I was totally overwhelmed as much as I could have been if everything did happen within hours on one certain day, which it could have happened, which would have been Saturday. It didn't happen like that though. So that's a really good thing. And so I thought, in spite of all the things going on too, I was able to continue and sit down in between the things I was focusing on and work on my projects. So I wanted to take today to go live and connect with any of you who wanted to jump on or just take this time really to update you on where I'm at on the projects, including we'll start with the hat. So with the hat, there's a couple things. I am at the point, I am getting really close to the point where I am going to be adding the lining. Now, when I add the lining, I will, and I'm going to show you the few fabrics I am coming to a decision on, and I'll tell you the reasons too. But if you look at the hat, I have added a few little patches right here. This is a very thin piece of fabric. And I added that because I wanted it to have kind of an antiquity or little rustic uh or you could say vintage vibe, but I didn't really feel like it was vintage. I really wanted more of and for lack of a better way to say it, like a hobo type of look, maybe. Tattered is kind of what I wanted. So, because these are all scraps. So I don't want to give the idea it's a polished look and it has to be perfect in this and that. And of course, it's not. But this is art wear. So anyway, the other reason I wanted this piece is I wanted a tiny bit of texture. Oh, let me say good morning down here and get this going. Sorry about that. Good morning or good afternoon. But anyway, and welcome. But I wanted to get a little bit of different texture than some of the jean fabrics that I have. And some of these jean fabrics do have a texture, especially these quilted seams or the bands like this one. Now this isn't done yet, and it's not that it's going to take forever to finish it either. It's very nearly done, really, when we get to it. The thing is, the reason I don't have I didn't do a bunch of top stitching. Now I'm going to show you. I did do some top stitching, but I'm going to tell you my little strategy with the top stitching, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. What I do with my top stitching, especially when I have as many quilted uh 3-layered pieces, okay, the seams and the bands, and then the little loops, and then I added more little pieces. And when I have pieces like that, if I go with my sewing needle, even if I slow it way down, like 1, 2, 3, it is going to break at some point. I'm telling you. And you know it is because you hear the gurgle. And then you check to see, I have my sewing machine right here, but you check to see if the needle is come loose or what's going on. So what I do, and I'm just going to show you right here, you can see I like very, very much I like the free form of sewing. I'm trying to get this in there. So sorry. So I like the free form of sewing. And so I want to go different directions and this and that. Now with this hat back here, I went around and around and around, and that's very easy to do. And I'm going to show you if you want to do that. Now, I am heading that way to go around and around. But when I do this first, it gives me a sense. For example, when you put your foot down, you put your fabric in your machine, you lift the needle, you lift the foot. Okay. And then when you put the foot down, it goes bam, it goes nice and flat onto the table or surface of your sewing machine. So you're nice and clear, you're going to sew, there's no obstructions. So anyway, when I do this, it gives me a very good sense of where the thickness is. Because sometimes, for example, I mean, this looks fine. It looks like, okay, well, wait, I can put my needle there. It's a little thick, but it will be fine. And so then you start doing your rounds, and guess what? It's not fine. Now, when I take sections like this and I put the foot down and I start to sew it a little bit, it gives me a very, very, very good idea on how that needle is going to tread through those fabrics. And this, when you build a hat like this is an art piece. I mean, this isn't your typical hat where you're just going to kind of, zip through it. It's an art piece. So you're going to have the varying types of thickness, and you may want to change your tension, depending on how experienced you are and what you want and what designs you may want to do zigzags on parts of it and this and that. So then anyway, I do this. This is how I start out. I start out doing my different um free form, and then I end up coming back and I will start to go around. That way I am oriented to pretty much where the thicknesses are. And I mean, aside from the obvious, like this is very obvious right here. And, so maybe, but, and it also gives you an idea. Do you want to go straight around? Because if you do, you'll be going through these different thicknesses. And that's exactly what I did with this hat right here. Well, the head on this is really big. It's really big. But this hat, I went straight around. So you can see I went straight around. And I'm kind of experimenting a tiny bit with this hat, because even though, and I did the same thing with this other hat, I did kind of get my footing, for lack of a better way to describe it, or get oriented to where the thicknesses are and what if the tension was working well here, and do some free form, and then came back and went around and around and around. So now, am I going to do this with this? I'm not sure. I'm loving this hat. What I could end up doing is, and I've been sewing this hat on and off with absolute focus of saying, I'm going to finish this hat. And then I decide to add another piece. So that's kind of what happened here. And then I added another couple little pieces as we're going around, like over here, like little pieces like that. So that's how I kept going along like that. Now I will know when it's done. And so right here, I have to pull it over here. Hold on a second. I'll just show you something here. This is sewing machine. And when I talk about, and for those of you who sew, you know totally what I'm talking about. And so here, let's see if I can turn this a little bit just to give you an idea. So here, your foot, right? There's your foot, and I'm gonna move this, sorry. Put my hat there. So I gotta kind of have it like this in front of me for a moment. When your foot is up, it's going to give you just so much space. And so when you click your foot down, if it's not going down at a good amount and you're feeling it go down and it's clicking, and I would be very, very careful with the sewing. Now, some people take the foot off, and you can certainly do that. I have done that, and I may end up doing that with this particular hat, but we'll see. So, anyway, I am right now with this hat just kind of testing out, like I said, my fabrics and thickness and tension and stuff like that, going back and forth between the hand sewing and the sewing machine. And now the next thing that is very, very interesting is the lining for the hat. So someone was telling me um, that the satiny kind or the silky kind of fabric is really, really wonderful um, as a lining. It makes it easy for the hat to go on and off. Now, I hadn't thought of that before, but this is a really very interesting to me, and it makes total sense. So I have this silky lining that I may be using, but I also have this cotton, which I just love. I love this. Now, you know that this is going to be just a tad thicker. It's going to have a little bit more of a pull, if you will, when you put the hat on. So, so I'm really not sure right now which one that I'm going to use, but it's going to be between this one and this one. If I use this, I feel like I haven't used silky lining for a hat before. And if I use this, I might want to fold it a couple of times at the edge here at the brim of the hat. So now when I do the lining to the hats, I hand sew them. I typically do not machine sew them on. So we'll see with this one. I may change that little routine of mine, and so I may first hand stitch this on and then come back and machine stitch. So anyway, I wanted to update you on the hat, and it's coming along beautifully. And when it is completely done, which will be either today or tomorrow, this will be done. I will share with you. And if you do pop over to Patreon, a lot of times what I do is I'll throw a post over there early on, only because it's super easy to put the post. And the artisans, that's kind of like a little hub. They like to see what's going on. So I'll probably throw a little video of it complete over there, and then I'll come back over to YouTube and also show you. But this is how far that I've gotten. And like I said, kind of mixing, keeping earth tones, mixing a little bit of the textures, keeping it, in my opinion, simple. And I added a little seam up here. That I think I was communicating that on over on Patreon. And but here on the YouTube community also, you can see that little seam is added. Now, when that's fully sewn on and there's more stitching and more whip stitching that goes across here, it will be a very subtle and adorable artsy kind of variation. You'll see it come alive. So anyway, that's with the hat. And so I will share with you what's going on with the bear. And then I'll share a little bit more with you on a few other updates. Few other. So this bear, if and again, I've been really putting the bear over on Patreon. As I said, it's a little hub where I can do really constant updates really easily. But I changed the blanket of the bear out. So this is actually a quilted piece I made a while ago. And then I added these scrap pieces, and I had sewn the other blanket all together. So I decided to take everything apart and redo this so that I have a completely different blanket, and it's a saddle blanket. And these pieces will be added to the saddle blanket, just like that piece up there in the cupboard. And that piece, you see this bear standing beautifully. Here, let me get it on something that's not so slippery. But look at this bear. So this is a needle felted bear. I am still sewing the piece here. And then these will be sewn on to the saddle blanket. And most likely I'll use a piece of a jean seam, something scrap like that. And what I want is to have little pockets here. So I may turn this piece and the piece on the other side into pockets, and then put these, we're going to make little peace flags, and these will have sayings on them like love or peace, or just a really nice decor. You might say a picture or stamp. I could stamp this with a beautiful flower or something to that effect. So the basic purpose is that it is giving a message of what you want. So it's giving a message of peace or love or something like that. So anyway, but the prayer flag, I call them prayer flags. I guess some people call them peace flags. But whatever, the bear will be holding a few of these. So that's the other thing that will be done very shortly. And then we'll come on and share that with you. He is going to get his eyes today. So I really love this bear. So this bear, I'm not going to put in the Artist Guild. I think I'm going to hold on to this bear because to just update you a little bit, there's a display exhibit that's coming up where I put my work on display for the tourists, touristy community here in Vermont. And so I'm only going to get about a day's notice on that because they turn it over quickly, it sounds like. So the coordinator will let me know. But this bear I really want in that case. So, and I want to make a few more hats to get in the case and put some of my Boro Sashiko items in there also. So that's a little bit of an update for the YouTube community and Patreon. This is our live, and I don't see anyone out there today. I did jump on a little later than usual. So and that's because we had a super duper packed weekend, and I had all kinds of things out and projects, and I'm back to my writing. My oh, and that was the other thing I wanted to share with you. I will put in the link here. I will put a link to my recent uh ebook. It's a poem. It's a poetry on the bridge of life. Now, everybody loved that piece of art, including myself, and I loved the universal energies going on with that. The fact I had a dream about that. And then the very next morning, I get an email to be invited to an exhibit that is themed bridges. So I was totally meant to be in the exhibit. So I was glad I got it because I'm feeling like I was meant to be in that. But on top of it, I went ahead and did a poem because I am a poet. I used to do poems. So like 30 years ago, I was getting poems published. And then, life happens and you kind of stop this and that. So, but I'm back to my poetry. So I think this is a good step in for me. And I wanted to share it with everyone so it's out there on Kindle, KDP, Kindle, Amazon ebook. And it's about 24 pages, but it's the stanzas. It's the way I lay it out. And the cover is of image of my artwork. So you get that you get that outside and inside, and I'm happy with it. Now, since I did that, and I did that very quickly, I wrote that, everything flowed and everything came to me like within a day. Seriously, I went ahead and published it. That went right through, and that usually takes about 5 days. And so they said there were, no errors, everything looked great. Boom, they put it through. So since then, over the weekend, in conjunction with working on my artwork, I am unwinding at night in my poetry. And I mean that sincerely, as this is where I find complete peace. I do here with my artwork too, but the realm that I enter when I am writing poetry is just phenomenal. I love it. I feel really good about it. So I revised the poem. I'm revising the poem a tiny bit. The original poem, very slight, but then I'm adding to it. So there's an extended version of the poem, and that is over on and that will be I don't know if I'll make it an ebook. I probably will make it an ebook also, but it will be a book also. So it will be quite long. Actually, it's becoming quite long already. So when things flow like that for me easily, it's that's usually like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So anyway, I wanted to update everybody on that. And if and we have a number of other projects. We have our yo-yo quilt, which I will have done, if not this week, it will be next week, because these two projects right here are nearly done. These are at fruition. So these will be getting done most likely today. And then I will be focusing on the yo-yo quilt, and we'll get that done. And we've had some really talented members over on Patreon working on their yo-yos. If you jump over to Patreon, you can jump on free if you'd like, and check it out. See if it's a community you'd like to be part of and share your work. I have lots of posting, like almost every day I'm posting over on Patreon. And they're not super long like this, but they are shorter, and they are nice clips where you can go, have a cup of coffee, enjoy seeing the process of whatever I'm finishing up or working on, or what I'm sharing with you kind of in my art world to keep my art projects going, all the different little footholds I have. And so I share all of that with you over there. And it's just a really good hub to get together in over there. So we only have one tier now, and it's our dollar tier, a dollar a month tier. And we keep it like that, super simple. So anyway, with that, I think that, and if you have any questions, let me know. We have many more projects also that we're working on. I probably didn't mention, but we will, I'll share those as we go along. And there's many public posts I do on Patreon too. So you can check it out over there with that and see if there's anything of interest with you on that. So anyway, I will be sharing with you what this hat looks like and which fabric I chose, and we will take it from there. And if anybody, actually, I should say this, I really should get used to saying this at the beginning of the video, but if anybody is new to the program, I'd like to just really quickly welcome you and give you just a little snippet of what we're about. Basically, what I love to do on this platform and over on Patreon is encourage the use of scrap, recycled fabrics, some materials, or organics, anything that's really earth friendly, no matter what it is you're doing, whether you're painting, or you're sewing, or yeah, you are doing the needle felting, whatever it is that you're doing. So, and with that, I love to encourage the creativity that goes along with that, because so many people say, I can't do this, I don't know how to do it, or I'm not good enough at it. And when in fact, once they start the process, and the most important thing is not to compare yourself right with other artists and benchmarks or anything like that, or even categories of art, but to give yourself that leeway to just enjoy what it is that you're doing, because it's a part of you. It's an extension of who you are. So I really love to talk about that. And in my book, and a book that I'm writing on of my art world, and that is coming out, I want to say optimistically, I'm not being too optimistic. That should be out at the end of this month, at the very latest, the beginning of next month, because I have it all formatted, all written. I mean, nearly formatted. So that's coming out. But I talk about creativity there and what I think the creative process encompasses. And you know, with the creativity, um, I find writing and poetry just really another part of that, and in my world, as many people do. So I encourage you for your creativity, for whatever it is, because it could be art. You could have the art, the gift of the gift. I was gonna say the gift of gab. I've been told I have that too. Just joking. But no, once I do, when I start talking about art, because that is a place that I am very comfortable and happy with. So now so yeah, and then inspiration. So we pull inspiration um from other cultures, and that's something I am very mindful of, and that's why I say Boro inspired, or Boro Sashiko inspired, or Kawandi inspired, because these are very specific methods of creating art, and embedded in a culture, embedded in the history of the culture. So when I share whatever I'm sharing with you, for example, like this, Boro Sashiko inspired, I'm saying inspired because I know I'm not within that specific culture, and I am borrowing or I am inspired by the beautiful method, historical method that I have learned from other artists, from books, from experience, from the history books and the culture itself. So I like to be very mindful of that. So, I mean, that's a long version, but that is a lot of what we're about. And I do like to go live and connect and have a safe community, and a community that knows that they can make a comment and they can come on here and share their comments or their interests. And we have some people over on Patreon, they're not crazy about the lives. So guess what? It's a nice community also on Patreon. They can communicate in their own little chat room. I'll tell you, it's a very good feeling to have a place to go. And guess what? You have a friend, an artisan friend coming back to chat with you. I mean, how relaxing is that? So, yes, the YouTube community, we do that too. However, it is more pronounced over in Patreon. So, you have that specific hub over there. You have your little chat room. And soon the free members will be able to let me take a sip of this. The free members will be able to chat with the artisan community who are members, or permanent members over there. They'll be able to chat during their free trial. So anyway, it's a really wonderful I didn't know what Patreon was like at all. Like I had not a clue. I'm like, like going like this, which I think a lot of people still do today. They're like, what is that? Well, the wonderful thing is, like, as I'm doing this video, this is shared right now with Patreon. So they'll be able to do their comments and it will populate over there. And, but comments coming here from the YouTube community, I can see, and we communicate, and it's just a really wonderful it's a good social platform is what I'm saying. So anyway, with that, I think oh, the other thing that I'll be sharing this week is I have behind me in my bookcase, I have my artwork of all of the women leaders series, women leaders for change series. So I will be dropping a video on that over here this week. I'll be dropping a video on that. Now we'll try, because Monday is kind of an off day. Some people are popping in and out here on live on the chat. They're popping in and out because I'm usually not here on Monday, but we'll try to schedule, get back to our Friday live, and maybe at the Friday live, I can share my, if I don't drop a video this week on my artwork like that, we'll share it there, but I'm sure we'll have plenty to share. So anyway, I hope that you enjoy this. And if you're a poet and a writer, I'd love to connect with you. And there's many poems now flowing through my mind. And and if you're a writer, you know how that feeling is. It's like you got to wake up in the middle of the night to write, or you got to stop and jot it down. And it's not just jotting it down, because if you jot down the idea and then you don't write on it, like create the feeling and the vibe, you lose that, because it's a feeling and a vibe coming through too. And anyway, I am very pleased And I'm thankful to the universal energies that I had that dream and that the coordinator emailed me. I mean, everything just connected. And who would have thought a bridge? That's the last thing I would have thought of that would kick me back into my writing. So anyway, with that, I know people are checking in and out. They're probably waiting for this to be over so they can listen. So with that, anyway, you just have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I will see you in the next one.